Good morning, everyone. H- almost it's almost unfathomable that this is the seventh session that we're doing, which means that at minimum 7 weeks that we have been quarantined. Um, I see some familiar faces of people who have attended earlier sessions. Um, if um, if you have not, if you have registered, I see uh, Christine, I see Terry, I see Richard. If you have registered and you just have your phone number, if you can type your email address into the chat bar, that will allow us to send a follow-up evaluation to you. And that's helpful for us from two perspectives. One, we're interested to have feedback. And secondly, we ask you a question. We're always looking for input from you all in terms of what are some other topics that you're interested in. I presume that we're going to continue doing these for the foreseeable future. So let me quickly pivot and talk about today's session is the Google suite of products, a collaborative gold mine. So one of our colleagues, Jenny Harris, is going to be, she is our guest facilitator today. I'm delighted that she's with us today. She has taught me some things about the Google suite of products that frankly I didn't know beforehand. So I assume for all of us who are working remotely, Google happens to have some products which can help facilitate teamwork and easily share information, which is really helpful to us. Before I begin, I want to do two things. One, tell you a little bit about us, and then talk about some housekeeping details. So again, I see some familiar faces, so I won't go into 18 minutes on this, particularly since we've got 30 minutes, but the focus at Boxer Advisors is to offer our clients high-end coaching, training, and consulting solutions. And we believe that one of the secret sauces to helping us do what we do is integrating our solutions into our client's environment. And we find when we do that, we're able to see some real tangible return on investment. One of the things, Jenny, we might do going forward is talk about return on investment. Just a thought. The three things that we do is we help our clients build leadership capabilities, drive organizational change, and engage and retain top talent. For clients who are on the call, if you want to talk to us about any one of those three things, we're happy to have a conversation with you. Three housekeeping details. One is we are recording this session, and I think we've recorded all of the sessions, and Jenny has placed them each individually on YouTube. And so if you haven't done that, if you haven't accessed them or you missed a session, you should feel free to go back on to YouTube and check out one of the sessions. Secondly, if you want a copy of the slides from today, just send me an email and we'll send it out. And the third thing is, again, I just want to thank Jenny for agreeing to do this today. I think it's really helpful for us to all be learning new things during these challenging times. So Jenny, I'm going to hand it over to you and let you take it from here.
Okay. Hi, I am Jenny Harris. I've worked with Boxers for going on 2 years now. And then in my other life, I am also a teacher. And so that's really where my comfort and understanding and extreme hands-on with Google has come from.
I didn't know that. I'm kidding.
So I don't, work for Google. I'm not paid by Google. I just really, really love Google. I joke that one of the reasons why I don't settle down and get married is because I'll never love anyone as much as I love Google. So if that tells you anything about how this is going to proceed, it's going to be, just a true love story here. But Google is at its roots set up to be used collaboratively On all of the documents that you, if you're using Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, so those are the Microsoft equivalents to Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. You have these share buttons, which makes it so that you can share these with anyone who is also a Google user. So our Boxer email is set up through Google, which means that we automatically have access to Google Docs. And so just a few high points about using Google Sheet or Google Suites is everything saves automatically. I remember from my college days, my computer would die, the power would go out, and I'd be in the middle of a paper and I would lose that. So with Google, it saves automatically. I'm going to show you a live demo and I'll point out to where you can see that it's saving as you go. During this time, I've had a lot of internet issues, and I know a lot of other people have had teleworking issues. And so that's something I never have to worry about while I'm using Google, any of the Google products, because it is saving for me constantly. It also gives me the ability to set an item to available offline. So that way, if I am taking my work with me, maybe I'm working in a park that day, or I'm somewhere where I don't have good internet access, I can continue to work on it. It'll save it. And then once I get internet connection back, it automatically updates any of those changes I made while it was offline to my online edition. So again, don't have to worry about saving it. That's a really, really nice feature for someone like me who tends to be a little scattered and forget to save. Additionally, Google provides built-in storage. So you can see I have a little screenshot of my Boxer Advisors Google Drive storage off to the right there. And it automatically gives you 30 gigs of storage. You of course can pay for more. On my personal account, I pay $1 a month for 100 gigs of storage. And then I think it's $5 a month for a terabyte of storage. So I feel that Google has the best pricing option of any storage that I have seen. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then they also have a downloadable option so that you can access your files from your regular computer. My primary computer is a Chromebook, but on my personal computer, I also have the drive downloaded, or my other non-Chromebook computer. I also have the drive downloaded so that I can just automatically save my documents to my Google Drive. One of the things that really stands out about Boxer Advisors is that we are and have always been a totally virtual company. So we have team members in at least 6 different states, although we just added someone, so now it may be 7. And what that means is that with Google, if we're using it effectively, then we can collaborate in the best way possible. And so I just wanted to point out a couple of those things. The first is Google Hangouts. So this is a feature that is built into Gmail. It makes communication between team members quick and easy. Through Google Hangouts, we can share links to documents that we are working on together. We can share files. We can share videos, anything like that. So instead of taking the time to formulate an entire email, we can just go ahead, pull that chat box up. I leave my chat box up all the time. So this is an example of a chat between Kayla and I. Kayla is in Alabama. I'm in North Carolina. So this is a good way for us to communicate. I get really distracted if I use my phone. So this keeps me from that distraction that I know I am susceptible to. Also,
Hey,
they have, yes.
Is it okay to ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So how does this compare with, I know some of our clients use Skype, or there's like an internal instant message. Is this similar?
Yes, so the just Google Hangouts is the internal instant message, but then they also have a Google Hangouts Meet, which is very similar to Skype, Zoom, that sort of thing. It's just already built in to your Google Suite, and it doesn't have as many bells and whistles, but it's nice for, you know, a quick faculty meeting. You can share your screen. There's a chat box. I would not recommend it for like a day-long meeting or anything like that, but it is nice for that quick meeting that you might have. You know, if we were having a training on Zoom, then we could just pop over to Google Hangouts Meet if we needed to make a phone call.
Excuse me, good morning. This is Christine Salaita, and if I may add something, thank you for introducing all of these platforms and tools that we could use to communicate with each other, but I do feel it's very important to let everyone know that NIH, we really have to make sure that we're using approved and secure platforms.
Yes.
And so it's really important to check with the IT staff or liaisons. I don't believe that Google Hangouts is an approved tool for us to use. We have Skype, we have Zoom.gov is coming soon. So just to put that out there, but thank you again.
No, that's an excellent point. Like the main reason that I am so familiar is because we use it at school, and I know that recently they've made a lot more advancements in it, but again, Google Hangouts Meet, I would say, is not nearly as prepared as Zoom was or Skype was for this transition. I'm just suggesting it as a, if you're not in that government situation where you could use it. And obviously not for anything that you would need encrypted or anything like that.
Yeah, I think in general, I think it's smart for everyone to check with your IT department about what tools you can use and can't use if you're with the federal government. Yep.
Yep. So next is the sharing of documents, sheets, and slides. So again, once you have a Gmail account, whether your work email is filtered through Gmail or you have a private Gmail account, you have access to all of these. And the greatest benefit to Google Sheets, Slides, the whole Google Suite is version control. So this is an example of our weekly playbook. So every week, Ken sends out kind of a list of things that our team needs to do. We also put up things that we are currently working on. And so all 7 or 8 of us are in this one document. And you can see this is my excerpt from a couple weeks ago. And it shows the things that Ken would like for me to work on. And then it also, I have put in blue my feedback on those things. This was taken from the middle of the week, so it's not nearly up to date. But each team member has a section like this. Each team member provides feedback. And once my task is complete, when it comes out the next week, I go ahead and delete that. And so all of us could, in theory, be on this one document at the same time working on it. So the way it was when I first came on was Ken would do a weekly playbook and he would send it out in a Word document. And so then all of us would make our updates, and then Ken would get back however many of us sent back in one. So if there were 8 of us that sent one back, then Ken has 8 different playbooks that he has to go through and then update for the next week. So this really cuts down on email clutter. It cuts down on document clutter because it's all right there in one place. And so the best way to show off Google is to give you kind of a real life example. I'll let that pull up real quick. So this is just a fake example. Designers use this Latin text as placeholders. So it doesn't really matter what the content is. It's just there for example. You can see here, this is where it'll tell me that it's being saved. So I can do see new changes. Oh, sorry. As you can see, some of my team members are up here or have been up here. The first thing here is the editing. So when you're in the editing mode, it's going to make those changes automatically. Nothing's going to stand out about it. It's going to be your standard word processing. When you drop down to suggesting, this is where if we were working on a proposal and Kayla had suggestions, then it would show up. Scroll down. So if I didn't think that this belonged here, I could move it, and then it's going to highlight my changes in green. As you can see, Kayla's are in this nice teal color. Kamori's is pink. So any changes Kamori makes are going to show up in this, but it'll be in pink. So then that way, it's a nice way to track who is making those changes, what those changes are, and then I can go through and click on them if I like them. If I don't like them, I can leave feedback. Okay. Kayla also left a comment, so this information maybe turned into bullet points. Okay. And so then I could go through and follow through with that suggestion that she made. And I can also leave feedback. So, you know, if I didn't think it should be bullet points, I could leave that note for her as to why I did not change it. Right?
Hey, Jenny, can I ask another question? Is that all right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So again, you have influenced me. I'm certainly not perfect, but you've influenced me about the benefits of using this as a collaborative tool. What are the advantages in using what you're showing us now versus a simple Word doc?
So the benefit is, and this is my dream, is to do like groundwork proposal work in this, just for Boxers. The benefit being that instead, if Kayla, Kamori, and I were all working on this document together, instead of doing it in a Word document where I make changes, Kayla may be making similar changes, Kamori's making similar but different changes somewhere else, then we have to put them all together, send it back out. Right? We are doing double work. We have tons of different versions, and so this way we cut down on that double work because we're all working in the same live document at the same time.
That's right.
Does
So
that make sense?
It does. So Jenny, my understanding is that let's just say we have a proposal that's due at 1 o'clock today, and we finish this webinar. My understanding is that you and Kayla and Kamori could conceivably be working in the same document at the same time. Is that true?
Yes. And so then that way, if Kayla wanted to add something in from an older proposal and I had the idea to do the same thing, we're not doing it at the same time, but on two separate documents. It would all be here. I would say, okay, Kayla's adding that in, and I don't have to do that. I can work on something else, some other part of this document.
That's great.
I will say, though, there are features that my suggestion would be that if you're making it something that's super pretty and super fancy, that your final draft is done in Word, just because Google is very streamlined, and so it doesn't have some of the frills that are needed for, final proposals, those sorts of things. It also, however, you can download everything into a Microsoft document. You can download it to a PDF and vice versa. So if you have it in a Word document, you can upload it to Google Suite, and it will, you can put it into a Google Doc that way. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? This is Roberta.
Yeah.
How does that differ with Microsoft Teams allows you to work in the same document now too, much similar to what you're explaining here?
I have not used Microsoft Teams. I have a friend who has, and she says that it's not as streamlined. Like there's so much more in Microsoft that it kind of makes it harder to navigate. But again, I have no experience with that. I've been using Google for about 10 years now. 9 years, something like that. So I don't know.
Well, I just recently got trained in there saying all kind of the same things that you were. And I also work for the government and you know, we're Microsoft. So I
Yeah.
was wondering, because this intrigues me that you don't have to have all the different versions. So I was wondering what the difference was. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so we can go back. It also, another feature that I like is it gives you a version history. So I can go back and see all of the changes that were made on this particular document from when I created it a couple of days ago until this morning. So that's nice in the event that you think something got mixed up or something didn't translate over correctly. I use it a lot with my students in the classroom because they'll delete the whole paper and then, you know, they don't know how to get it back. And so it's nice to be like, okay, well, yes, you deleted it. Yes, Google saved it automatically, but you can go to your version history and bam, it's right there. You can pull that right back up.
That's great.
So this is, I use Sheets predominantly for keeping track of documents in folders. Sheets has all of the same functions that Excel has. So this is an example of the Google Sheet that I use the most. It's our webinar lineup. This is a multi-year sheet that not only has the dates and times of our upcoming webinars, but it also has a link to the folder that has the documents, the images, the recordings, anything pertaining to those previous webinars. So you can see here the list of the ones from earlier this year. And what's nice about this is it's shared with pretty much every team member that we have. So if Ken needed something from the first one we did, the top 10 business lessons from 2019, he could go in, he could click on that link, it would take him to our shared Dropbox folder and he could pull the PowerPoint from that webinar out, make any edits that he needed to. Additionally, the sheet is has all of these links, which is really nice. So it's just a Command K. It's easy to put those links in. You can also share folders, which is one of the things that I really, really love. So the webinars folder is shared with, I know, Sarah and Kamori. And instead of having to individually on my documents, click the share button and then share it with them, anything that I put into those folders, they automatically get the exact same access to. So if it's set up that they can only view it, then they can only look at the files, look at the sheets, whatever. If it's set up so that they can edit it, if I put in a PowerPoint, then they can automatically go in and edit it, and I don't have to do that with everything that I put in, which I think is really nice and cuts down on my personal time that I spend on working on things.
Hey, Jenny.
Yeah.
Just quickly, we had someone join us and they're on their phone. If there's a way for them to either unmute themselves, they would press *6 on their phone, or they could just send me a message. That would be great. Just so we're gonna, I know Jenny had said just that she's willing to take questions as we go. And so if I think we had one person join us who we don't know who they are, that would be great. Back to you, Jenny.
So, I mean, that is pretty much my short take on Google. It's real quick. I tried to keep it short, but still hit all of the highlights. So if you have any other questions, Sarah pointed out that Google is free, but that Microsoft does require a monthly fee to use it. So that might, you know, kind of swing your decision one way or the other.
Jenny, with so many people working remotely, is there anything that you have, other than what you've shared, is there anything that that you can share with us about the benefits of collaboration and using the Google Suite that maybe we hadn't thought of or you hadn't mentioned yet?
So you can always use it for project-based things, using it for meetings, going back to like just the Hangouts chat box. That's really a time saver, I feel like, for us, because there's no pressure to like get right back to it. I know that Kayla has kids, and so she will handle whatever question I'm asking when she gets a second. So I don't feel like there's any pressure there for her to, you know, drop everything that she's doing and talk to me if she isn't in a position to do that. I really like it for working on projects and keeping up with what, like who's doing what on any given job.
Gotcha. That's great. Jenny, can I ask two questions? One, are you willing to stick around after 10 if people had some other questions, or not so much?
Yes, that's perfectly
Okay.
fine.
All right. And then Jenny, what's next week's coffee session about?
So next week is on time management, and then the week after that is mindfulness, and then keeping up team morale, and then stress management.
So next week is on time management. So that's I think moderately important for everyone, given these times. And then just a quick plug. One of the things that we're doing, and hopefully Jen and I get the date right, May 19th, is that right?
Yes.
So May 19th, we are doing a session for our clients. We're going to give them, Jenny actually labeled it a peek behind the curtain. And I'm going to be joined by 3 of my colleagues. And we're going to present a little snippet of some of the virtual training that we do. I think right now, and I know we're updating it weekly, Jenny, we have, is it 30 or 40 webinars that we have in the catalog?
It's probably closer to 40.
Yeah. So the good news for us is much of the training that we do, we've migrated all that to a virtual environment. So if you're interested in learning more about, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you an overview of the topics. We're going to, 3 of our colleagues are going to present. One of them is going to present on how to develop teams virtually. One of them is going to present on how to improve your training skills if you're doing a virtual training session. And then the third is going to present on how do you assume more responsibility for your own development in these challenging times. And then we're going to have a panel discussion about some of the trends that we're seeing in virtual training. So we'll include a link with that with your follow-up, but I just want to mention that. So let me stop there. Jenny, why don't we stop sharing your screen and we'll be able to see everyone.